Friends, we have a very serious problem in the United States. And it's not just the United States, I get, but we're going to talk about the United States. A recent survey, 59% of Americans cannot cover a $1,000 unexpected expense, whether it's a medical bill, car repairs. 59% of Americans can't cover that out of their savings. Now, this is up 3% in just 1 year, and this rate continues to climb. Americans cannot cover just routine emergencies. Like I said, unexpected expenses. We have things out of control in the United States, and I'm going to give you some perspective that may just blow your mind. It's absolutely crazy. I'm here in India right now and staying at a fairly nice hotel. I think if you're American, you'd be like, this is really nice. Don't drink the water. But other than that, pretty nice place, right? And we just had dinner downstairs. The ministry leader that I'm traveling with and I had dinner, and it was my turn to pick up the tab. We had a nice meal. We had glass bottle sodas. We had bottled water, of course. We had French fries. We had Indian curry. Both of us had a full Indian curry meal with rice. All that, $8. Not $8 a piece, $8 for the whole thing. Sit-down restaurant in the hotel, $8. You can't get ramen and hot dogs that you have to cook yourself for two people in the United States for $8, I think. I don't know. I'm exaggerating a little bit there, but you can just see it's just absolutely a different world. And you go to a bunch of other places in the world, and the prices are just way, way different. What is so wrong in the United States that has gone wrong, and what do we do about it? Let's talk about it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are the things the mainstream media doesn't want you to know, doesn't want you to talk about. We're being told that things are the way they are, and they just can't be any different. Just a couple months ago, I was hiking on the Camino because I need to watch my weight and get into shape. I'm trying to get out more, to walk more, and that was kind of a way to kind of kickstart things. Also, a pilgrimage, spiritual pilgrimage with people and all that. Fantastic experience. But got to experience Europe. And you see that, yeah, food is more expensive over there, kind of, but it's a lot better quality. A lot better quality, a little bit more expensive. And then when you go to restaurants and everything like that, it's really not much more expensive than the United States. And yet it's all made from scratch. They're using real ingredients. They're not opening up a can in the back of a chain restaurant and dumping it into a bin and warming it up for you, or taking a frozen plastic wrap packet out of the freezer, warming it up and serving it to you as is. They're cooking these things from scratch, and yet you're paying less at this little mom and pop restaurant that's going to serve 40 people tonight, completely total, and they're going to cook all that from scratch, paying about the same as you would a chain restaurant in the United States. And the quality is just so different, so very different. And, we've been talking about that. And if things are not that much more expensive over in Europe, and yet they're making more money, and Americans are working more hours, working harder, at some point you got to ask the question, why is our system in the United States so broken? Why isn't it working for us? Why are we paying more on healthcare and getting less for it? Why are we spending so much on food and yet getting garbage? Why can't we buy decent food? Why is it so hard to find stuff like that? Why is it so hard to have an affordable, healthy lifestyle in the United States? You go to Europe and everybody's like, you come back to the United States and everybody's like, myself included, I'm a prime example of American, and I'm trying to change that. And I know a lot of you guys are too. And it's like we're fighting this uphill battle. It's as soon as you go outside the United States, it becomes so much easier to get more walking in. You can't walk in America. You have to go to like a track or a park in the United States to walk. It's really hard to walk downtown areas, walk between stores. Have you ever been like to a shopping center, a storefront shopping center, and like across the road is the shop you want to go to? And you're like, it's not crazy. Like, how about I just walk over there? I only need a couple things. I'll just walk over there. Oh, no, you're not. There's no sidewalk. There's no crossing location for you. You're not supposed to do that. You've been to these like major intersections and you just realize that there's no crosswalks. And you're just like, how is there a major intersection here with stoplights and everything like that? And they're just like, they designed it for no one to walk across, because why would someone walk across there? That's insane. Just because there's stores over there and stores over there, like, no, people wouldn't walk across the street here. It's crazy. America is so built up for cars. You just can't get around on a scooter. You can't get around walking. And so many of us Americans haven't experienced anything differently. And so we just kind of go, oh, well, that's just the way things are. And then you go over to Europe and you're like, no, that's not the way things are everywhere else. You go to Asia and no, they walk places. They build their cities to be walked in and to drive around on scooters. And the United States is not that way. You have to have a ginormous vehicle where you're not interacting with anyone and you don't walk anywhere. You just don't do that. And you walk, if you see a whole bunch of Americans, you see that very clearly, that Americans don't really walk. Some exercise, but it's like you're fighting against the whole system. The system is designed to make you weak, dependent, and we're not just talking about food. Like I said, we're talking here about financial. The cost of living is crushing Americans inside of America. And everything is expensive. Wages are low compared to expenses. When you compare the cost of stuff compared to the wages that we get, we're actually one of the worst places to live in the world. That I know that may just blow your mind, but we are not a good place to live. And this explains why so many Americans are so much in debt. The debt load on the average American is ridiculous. When you start looking at the average American's debt load versus the average American's wage for the year, and that's not even counting how much taxes they're going to have to pay on that wage, most Americans can't get out of debt in 1 year if they just chose not to eat, not live in a building. They just take all of their money and throw it at their debt. Most American, and I'm not talking about debt that has actually an asset attached to it. So when we talk about houses, that's a different kind of debt. Vehicles are kind of that debt because the vehicles are losing their value so rapidly and so quickly. But we see tuition loans. We see credit card debt. We see auto loans that are stuck to cars that aren't worth as much as the loan is. People underwater in their auto loans. We see all this debt because people just can't make ends meet. A lot of people are depending on their refund check, their tax refund check. And that's a good one. A number of you guys asked me, since I am a tax accountant by trade, what kind of software I use or what do I use. Honestly, I just use TurboTax. So for my own personal self, I just use TurboTax. I use the downloadable desktop version because it's cheaper. and you can, and it's kind of a little more powerful too. So like if you want to pay for the online version and pay extra for that, sure, go ahead. But I recommend the desktop version, and they actually do have some on sale. I was just shopping for myself, so I'll put those links down in the pinned comment down below. If you want to get TurboTax downloadable, there's discounted rates if you get it through Amazon. You purchase it, and then they send you a thing, and then you use that to download the software onto your desktop, laptop, computer, that kind of thing, and then you do your taxes on there. But anyway, but people are depending on their tax refund checks, right? And that's really kind of scary. That people are trying to hope that their tax refund check will be enough to kind of make ends meet, catch them back up a little bit. A lot of people are underwater on credit card debt. I've talked about this before. I got behind on credit card debt. I made some foolish choices and years and years ago, and I got underwater on credit cards, and the high interest rates were starting to really bite. And I used Trinity Debt Management, which is a nonprofit organization out there that they what they do is they negotiate with your credit card company, and they close down your credit card. So you do lose your credit card. You can't add any more charges to it, but what they do is they lock it, and then they lower the interest rate significantly. And once they lower the interest rate significantly, as long as you keep making those monthly payments, and they also spread it out for like over 2.5 years or 3 years of payments at the lower interest rate, which is much more manageable. So you can at least freeze things where they are. If you're in a downward spiral, the sooner you talk to somebody, the sooner you get some help and get it so that it's not crushing you. There's no reason to be paying full price on interest rates for credit cards. That's just, you can't win on that. Don't kick that can down the road. At least freeze those accounts, get the interest rates knocked down significantly, and start paying off and getting that taken care of. If you're really in a lot of trouble, you can talk to lawyers and stuff like that about bankruptcy, and I don't know much about that on that side of things. But if you really need help, go get it, please. Don't wait around if you're starting to lose the battle against your debt load. But the fact that I have to say that and know that means a lot to some of you guys, and you guys are like the cream of the crop. You guys are hardworking people who are contributing to society. A lot of you are retired now. You used to contribute to society economically and with your work and everything like that. I know you're still volunteering and doing wonderful stuff and helping other people. But what I'm saying is, like, if that's true about this audience, I mean, imagine your ordinary American, the people that voted the other way, so to speak, the people who are more freeloading off things. This situation for them is even worse. The average American, 59% cannot cover a $1,000 unexpected expense out of the. So if you can look into your bank account and see $1,000 that you could throw at a car repair bill, a sudden medical bill, and you'd still be able to pay the rest of your bills this month, you are in the upper 40% of Americans. Upper 40%. Not necessarily in how much you make per month, but like in where you are wealth-wise. Now, that may shock a bunch of you guys. You're like, I didn't think I was that well off. Well, you are. If you're managing your money and you actually have some savings, even $1,000 worth of savings, you are ahead of most of Americans, the majority of Americans. We got prices just spiraling upwards on housing, automobiles, insurance, medical, utilities, fuel, food. I mean, we know all these things, right? All these bills have been going up significantly, and you've been feeling the pinch. Everyone else has been feeling the pinch too. Only 1 in 10 banked households with a bank account, said they were satisfied with how much money they had in savings. 1 in 10. If you're like, well, I'm pretty stocked up, I'm pretty well saved up, you're in the top 10% of Americans. I know, it just, when you talk about how irresponsible most Americans are, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. As a tax accountant, I've seen people's expenses. I've seen their credit card statements as I did people's taxes and stuff. Did I judge them? Just internally, friends, just internally. I've seen what people do and how much they eat out, and just it's crazy. I don't know about you guys, but like I don't understand some of these people, how much they spend on eating out and just crazy stuff. They have subscriptions that they're subscribed to, that take out money out of their bank account or the credit cards every month, and I can tell that they don't actually use these services. They just never got around to canceling them. There's some services out there that will actually go through your credit card statements, bank statements, I think, that will actually like find all of the things that you're subscribed to, and then it will like help you to cancel them. I've heard of services like that. I've never used one like that, but that might be something to look into. If you have a bunch of these things kind of, or you can just go through manually and just actually get all of your credit card statements, all of your bank statements for the month. If you don't do this every month, do it every so often. Just open them all up and just go down line by line. Make sure there's not surprises on there. Make sure you understand where all your money is going, right? Others of you're really good about budgeting and you know where every dollar is going. Awesome. Other people, not so much, but semi-disciplined. But one little bright spot here, though, is also in that same survey about the banked households with a bank account. 60% were optimistic about being able to save more money this year, put more money away than they did last year, and that is because of the new president. So things are hopefully turning around. People think things are turning around at least, and we are cautiously optimistic that things are getting a little bit better this year and maybe a little better next year, right? So if it's going to be better, what do we need to do? If you have a good year or a tolerable year, put some away for rough times ahead. Friends, 59% of Americans can't cover a $1,000 surprise or unexpected bill. Don't be one of them. Put some money away. If you've never heard of Dave Ramsey, go look him up. Look up the baby steps. I'm not saying you need to follow the baby steps, but they should at least, you should be kind of going down that path somewhat. You should have an emergency fund. You should be trying to take care of your debt. Why? Because this is the life we have to live. You have to live your life. And if it's a mess, you're the one who's going to suffer. Your families are the ones who are going to suffer. And I know none of us want that. And I know this is, some of you are like, that's getting a little preachy, Steve. You're stepping on my toes. Hey, if you don't like the advice, you don't have to take it, right? But that is my advice as an accountant, as a person who has watched a lot of people make decisions from their credit card statements and everything like that. And my recommendation, get your financial house in order. We talk a lot about stocking up food, but also get your financial house in order as best you can. All right, there's going to be rough days ahead. There's rough days ahead for all of us. And some of you guys are living those rough days right now. and probably thinking back and saying, I wish I'd gotten a little more prepared when things were a little easier. All right, friends, we'll keep you updated on what's going on out there and keep giving you helpful advice. If you want to get some more, if you want to check out those TurboTax downloadable desktop things, that's down in the pinned comment down below. I'm getting the one of them myself. I already got one of them myself. And then if you want to check out another video from this channel, there's a link right up there. Thanks so much for watching. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report out.